Hi YouTube, it's Madison again. Um, I made a video earlier today to explain why I needed GoFundMe. But then afterwards I thought maybe people should know my story about why I need help for a place to stay. Which I'm choosing a campground because it's cheaper than a hotel or anything, and I don't have an income yet. I'm waiting, applying for welfare and SSI. I'll get welfare first, which is a small amount, um, while I'm waiting to get approved by SSI. So I can't rent a place. This winter, a friend let me stay with him on his couch right here. He was very generous to do that because he knows I'm crippled and I'm a woman, and being on the street in the city, being a woman, being crippled is dangerous. Um, a lot of bad stuff that happened to me. But so here's my story on how I got homeless in the first place, and why I can't just go get a job like a lot of people have told me before. Because trust me, I would love to get a paycheck and have money. You think it's fun living with nothing? No. You think it's fun being scared of living on the street? No. I didn't become homeless because of drugs. I didn't become homeless because of alcohol. It was, as far as I see it, no fault of mine. Although my mother would like to disagree to that one. She always, everything's my fault. But so I threw my back out at work in 2009, April 2009. So almost 8 years I've been disabled. I threw my back out January 4th, and I thought it was gonna get better. 2 weeks later, I got into a bad car accident and got bad whiplash. And I thought, I'll just go to physical therapy, I'll get better, I'll go back to work, and da da da. No. So by April, I had lost my job because I couldn't go back to work. I was in too much pain, even though I had been going to the chiropractor, physical therapist, my regular doctor. I was seeing everybody you could see with a injury. So by April, when I found out I couldn't have my job back, my mother started to get pretty pissed that I was 21 years old and couldn't pay rent. She's told me to stop being lazy. She thought I was just faking it, seeking attention, over exaggerating, being lazy. Anyway, so I left. I left my parents' house. That wasn't the first time. So I left, and I went to New Bedford from Marion because I knew some people out there. And I was like house hopping, which was difficult with my back messed up. By July, I was pregnant. I don't want to tell you that story. Maybe next time, another time. So I conceived in about July. Still homeless, pregnant and homeless. She was born in May. And at some point, I was at a shelter while I was pregnant, and I just couldn't take it anymore. My back wasn't getting better. My whole body was starting to feel like it was in pain. I didn't understand why I was in pain everywhere else. So when I got out of the shelter, the women's shelter, I went into another women's shelter, but you can only stay for 3 weeks. And I met this girl who had just had a baby. He was a month, 2 months old, something like that. And we decided to work together, get a place together, because we knew welfare with our incomes, we couldn't have our own place. So we searched for programs to help us out also, because you need first, last, and security to move in. So we found a program that helped us pay first, last, and security, and paid a percentage of our rent for the next 3 months after that, which was amazing. Me and her got along for the most part, but she was like bipolar and borderline schizophrenic. And she just had these freak out moments where she'd scream and throw stuff, and eventually, like 2 years later, I think, almost 2 years later, when I gave birth to my second son, my sons were 11 months apart. So when I was 7 months pregnant with my first son, we moved into the apartment. Then by the time I had my second son, I was like, look, I've been asking you to get on meds, go see a counselor, therapist, psychiatrist, like go do something about this, because I can't emotionally handle it, and if I can't, then my kids are not going to. I'm not going to leave my kids in this situation. I'm going to go find something else. So I went to welfare. They put me in a hotel under this new program that they started. You stay in a hotel while you look for an apartment. They go by how many kids you have, their ages, because it depends who can share a room and who can't. But the budget for it was low, so I could only get a 1 bedroom. I mean, that was fine. So that put a roof over our head. I was in the hotel for like a while, quite a few months, from like September to February, and I moved in. I lose dates. I lose track of dates. Hold on. So we had our own place, me and my 2 boys. My daughter would visit occasionally. After a year of being in the program and having that apartment, you automatically get on Section 8, which is like years waiting list. Years and years and years. Like 8 years. So you automatically get Section 8, and you can find an apartment where a landlord accepts Section 8, so that they could pay your rent. By the 11th month, a month before I was about to get my Section 8 certificate, my landlord lied about shit, said I was an unsanitary tenant. Excuse me, I have OCD. No one came to take pictures. If they came to the house, they'd be like, kids live here? Are you sure? Doesn't look like it. I see toys, but they're like neatly put away. He lied. Or him and the program was in cahoots, like they were working together. Because it doesn't cost to kick someone out or off the program, but they get money when they add people to the program, and they can't just keep adding. They only have a certain amount. So the more people they get to go on the program, they get money for. And I think that's why. Like, it was very suspicious. I put what's that thing called? Where you go to prove yourself. I don't know what it's called. I know what it's called. I just don't know. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Appeal. That's what it's called. So I put it in. I put it in on time. I had gone to my worker's office, and they faxed it. They saw the receipt. They helped me do this. So I had proof that I sent it on time, and that it was faxed, and they had a receipt from the fax and everything like that. Um, so they denied me anyway. No one came to investigate. No one came to take pictures. No one asked me what happened. Nothing. I just got kicked off the program, and so I got an eviction notice. And I was like, what the heck? Because my income wasn't enough to even pay for a 1 bedroom. I mean, that's how little welfare is on. People who are on welfare with kids can't really live. Not really, unless they have housing or Section 8. It's not going to happen. So I was like, I quickly trying to apply for Section 8 and housing. They're like, no, we can't accept you because you were denied from that program. I'm like, what? They're like, because it's the same rules. So if you can't follow their rules, then you can't follow ours, so we're denying you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, oh, I had so many witnesses. I had early intervention for my kids coming to, like, see how the development's going. Even they came and was like, wow, this is unusually clean. Did you do this for us? And I'm like, no, this is my house every day. I clean. Yeah. So, it was crazy. So I was like, I'm going to be homeless. And when I was pregnant and I told you about the shelter I was in, they, like, look for reasons for you having taken care of your kids wrong, and then they'll automatically, without questions or comments or anything, call DCF, and then you have a DCF case. And apparently someone's been there like a year, and they were like, yeah, there's at least one kid taken every month. I'm like, are you fucking serious? It's part of the reason why I was like, out of there. I was like, not that I think I'm gonna be a bad mom, but I don't need nobody like that judging me like that. If my kids are happy, they're fed, they're clean, they're healthy, I'm not beating them, I'm not yelling, I think, I'm good. Just because I'm not doing it your way, or it's crazy. So I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anyone to rent a room to me and my boys. I tried so hard to find a place and stay with my kids, but I couldn't. So I had the eviction notice, couldn't get housing, couldn't find a room to rent. Nobody wanted a room to rent to a mother and two toddler, a baby and a toddler. And no, nobody really wants to do that. Unfortunately, I mean, really, to turn down a mother who's on the verge of homelessness with their kids. Anyway, so I made the really tough decision to send my kids with family. I didn't want to part with them at all. I was the only one there. I mean, I had people who loved them, who was around and there for them. But obviously, I'm saying I'm the only one because the fathers weren't involved. Not really. Not until up to that point where I had to send my kids to family. Then my older son's father was involved because he finally got the paternity. 99.999% his. He looks like him. I mean, he's Guatemalan. I mean, come on. He thought I really was a slut. Like, people really thought. Oh, forget that. Okay. So, my younger son went with my parents. He's still there. And my oldest son went with his father. He's still with him. Because I have been homeless since. There's pretty much no help. In the area I was in, I tried going in another shelter that was new, and you have to be out during the day, and with my fibromyalgia, sometimes I can't do that. I just need rest, or I need to, like, chill, put my feet up, or take a nap, or sleep for a whole entire day. And they had such strict rules. I'm like, this is discrimination against my disability. And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay, today I'm really tired. I can't leave. You just yelled at me for falling asleep in a chair. Okay, that's how tired I am. And they were like, no, you have to go, that's the rules. You have to leave during the day and um be back by 3:30. And so I went to the park, fell asleep, didn't wake up until 11 o'clock that night. And I was like, I told you so. They're like, well, here's your stuff, bye, because you can't follow the rules. And I kept saying, that's discrimination against my disability. And they said, no, you're an adult, you should be here on time. It has nothing to do with your disability. Okay. And I couldn't prove it that, that I told them I was tired and I couldn't, so it's like he said, she said. Who are they going to believe? The woman on the street, or the people running Sister Rose's shelter, you know? He's so mad. So, I've been trying to get SSI ever since. I've stayed here and there with friends on the street. And I was on the street for like a year and a half until this past October when my friend here let me stay on his couch for the winter. He said after winter, you gotta have your shit together or not. Either way, I'm giving you this time to get your shit together and be somewhere warm and during the winter. So here I am. It's spring just about, and he just told me last night the other roommate's moving out next month, and by the end of next month I need to be out pretty much. And I have to stay in this town to be eligible still for because I've never applied for any programs out here. This is like 45 minutes from the city I was homeless in. So, you know? So I applied here, and they have a thing called homeless housing, which the city didn't even have. You have to go through a bunch of BS to even get help to get any type of housing, and you need an income. With this one here, you don't need an income, which I'm like, oh, thank you. But if I go back on the street, there's no way I can survive on the street in this town. There's really no other homeless service. There's not really. So it's just easier in the city instead of out here in a town in the woods, you know. So I thought, well, what about the campground? I've heard of homeless people renting out the campground. So I looked it up, and I said this in the last video I made today. Ugh. My pain is so bad. I don't even know how I'm living. So, where the heck did I put it? Oh. I made a GoFundMe, gofundme.com/keeping Maddie off the street. Okay, so different days at different prices. It goes from either $36, $45, $54, or $65. So I figured May 22nd approximately would be my first night, whatever. I have to go if I were to rent the campsite. The first 10 days would be $447. 20 days would be $843. 30 days would be $1,266. 37 days would be $1,599. I made a GoFundMe, so I'm not on the street. I figured if I can get the money up to rent the campsite for like a month, it will give me time to be in the city and a little bit more safer, because I think they might have cameras, maybe, and there's like amenities. I don't know how to say it. Things there. There's laundry. There's bathrooms. I think there's shower. There's running water. You can, use water, whatever you need water for. Fire pit. So if it's cool that night, I can just make a fire. So I really need this money to stay safely in this town. I mean, I could stay in this town and just barely make it, but a campsite would be very beneficial because I could make a fire legally at night when I'm cold. I don't want to be caught in the back of someone's woods and here they come with a shotgun and then calling the fire department because there's a fire in their woods. Well, I know how to make a safe fire, so I'm not going to catch shit on fire. My father's a volunteer fireman, so I learned how to make a safe fire in the woods or whatever. So, that's my homeless story. Summed up, there's a lot more stories in that story, but that's how I became homeless, and that's how I am where I am now, and why I'm asking for the GoFundMe for help. I really want to stay here in this town so I can stay eligible for this program that will give me my own apartment. They go by income, and my income's 0, so I don't need to pay anything. So, I mean, this is big. This is my last chance, and if I go back to the city, I have no more chances. There's nothing there, unless I wait for SSI and have. Since 2009, that's a lot of years I've been applying, denied. I'm not being denied because there's nothing wrong with me. It's just, difficult story too. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm just going to be like partying with the money. I really want to get the campsite for a month at least. So I'm asking for $2,000. That's a really lot, but that'll keep me safe and warm. Well, fairly safe, The tent doesn't have a bolt lock, but, I'll just make sure I get a big stick to sleep with in case someone comes knocking. I can knock on their head. Please. This is my last chance. I don't like begging. I don't like asking for stuff. I mean, when I panhandled in the city, I hated that too. It was half embarrassing, half humiliating, half I felt too selfish. Like, I don't want people to think that, like, they need to give me money. At that point, it was just to survive. But this is to survive. But it'll be going towards the campsite. And I'm hoping it's not longer than that I have to wait for the apartment. But I'll figure it out when that time comes, and if I don't get the $2,000, I'm gonna be partly trespassing in someone's backwoods. I can get arrested because I need to stay in this town. I don't want to go back to the cities. The city is the only good place for homeless people. That's why you find them in the city, not out in a town. Because in the city you get more options. You get the soup kitchen, you get the food trucks, you can panhandle, there's so much stuff. There's better hiding places to sleep at night. But out here, you can't do like you do in the city. You can't. And I wish my friend would let me stay a little bit longer. But I don't want to be a burden to him. He wants his house back, you know? I do feel like I'm in the way anyway. I'm sleeping on his couch. I mean, come on. Even though he plays video games in his room. Please, guys. I need this. It'll keep me off the street, safe and warm for the time being. So I'm gonna put my GoFundMe page at the description, and hopefully you'll be able to help me out. And hope this is the last time I'm gonna ask for help from people. I feel really bad, like so bad that it makes me want to cry, like, and it makes me want to hate myself, like I did something wrong. And it'll be, when I get into the apartment, it'll be one more step closer to getting my family back together, me and my kids. I miss living with my kids. I visit them, but it's just not the same. I cry all the time about it. I feel like I want to cry now. That's what I'm like thinking about it. Guys, I really don't want to ask for help. And I also don't want people to think that it's not going towards what I'm saying it's going towards. It's going to a campsite. It is, because... anyway, I'm going to stop the video because I just might cry for a minute. Alright. Oh, man. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Comment, like, subscribe. I have more stories coming. I thought it'd be better to write it down before I start the video because I'm like, half the time. Sorry, that's my fibromyalgia. I hate it. So, I'm gonna be also making different videos. This channel isn't just going to be about my story. I mean, I'm going to be posting about my story, but I want to put other things on it. More funny things, more exciting things, more silly things, because I'm silly. I don't want to be serious all the time or boring. So, yeah. Share also. Share this. Share the GoFundMe. Please. Please. Pretty please. Alright, guys. Thanks for listening to my long-winded, almost half an hour fucking video. See you later, alligator.